Hello and welcome to Undead Gaming News, your one-stop shop for all things gaming. I'm your host Zombie, and first up this week we have Dead Island 2. As it's been out for a little over a week now and you still can't access certain content. The Digital Deluxe Edition, Gold Edition and the Physical Hell A Edition of Dead Island 2 promised 2 character packs featuring new weapons and outfits, and despite those being offered as a bonus for those who pre-ordered those editions of the game, the character packs won't be available until at least the summer. The official Dead Island Twitter stated that the packs would arrive shortly after release, but then made an update on release day to state that they're aiming for the summer, which almost seems pointless, because everyone who pre-ordered the game would have most likely finished the game completely by the time that those packs even get released. However, in other news, we have Star Wars Jedi Survivor, as EA have shared that Star Wars Jedi Survivor will have weeks of patches following its launch, due to reports that the game is running poorly on the PC. They stated, "In the weeks ahead, we'll deploy patches that will fix bugs, improve performance, and add more accessibility features. The worst of these performance issues largely seem to affect PC copies of Star Wars Jedi Survivor, so do keep that in mind if you're playing it on PC in the first few weeks." Our next story comes from Square Enix and PlayStation, as they've both unveiled their latest special accessories for an upcoming exclusive. This time it's Final Fantasy XVI's turn for the accessories deal, as there's a special DualSense controller and PS5 faceplate available. Right now it's a little unclear if they will be available outside of Japan. The 2 accessories were announced on the Japanese PlayStation blog, and there's no evidence so far of them coming to other territories at this time. However, this will be the first time that custom faceplates have been available for a PS5 game. Previously there had been themed DualSense controllers for the likes of God of War Ragnarok and Hogwarts Legacy, but Final Fantasy XVI is also getting its own faceplate, in Japan at least. And Final Fantasy XVI is set to launch later this year, on June the 22nd, exclusively for the PS5. In other news though, Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon has now been given its official release date. If you're unfamiliar with Armored Core 6, it's the next game that's going to be released by From Software. However, it's not going to be a Souls-like game, as it's a continuation of a franchise that last had an installment in 2012. It's a mech-based vehicular combat game, and while it's not a Souls-like, there are some big new gameplay tweaks over the originals, but that's natural due to how they've evolved as a dev team over the years. As with its predecessors, Armored Core 6 is a mission-based game with a big focus on mech customization. The devs have also confirmed a return of Arena Mode, letting you face an array of specially customized mechs. There are also multiple endings in Armored Core 6, adding a bit more replay value to it, and it will be released on August the 25th, 2023. Our next story comes from Alien Isolation, as it's now getting a physical release on the Nintendo Switch. The news was announced by the team at Limited Run Games, and pre-orders will start for the physical edition on the 26th of May. Limited Run Games will be selling 3 versions of Alien Isolation which you can pre-order, with the first being the Basic Edition, which, as you'd expect, just includes a physical copy of the game, and then there's the Classic Edition, which contains a VHS-style box, a steelbook case, and of course a physical copy of the game. Lastly, there is the Collection Collector's Edition, which includes everything in the Classic Edition, as well as an 18-inch by 24-inch double-sided poster, a Sevastopol station replica, art cards, and patches. It's also worth noting that all 3 of these editions do come with all 7 DLCs that the game has to offer, so you won't need to buy those on top. In other news, Star Trek Resurgence has now been given a new release date. Originally revealed in December of 2021, and expected to release in 2022, Star Trek Resurgence was delayed into April of 2023, however it still didn't launch, and now they've provided a new release date of May the 23rd, 2023. Originally they announced it as May the 23rd, 2023, and then corrected themselves to say that it was a mistake, that it was supposed to only be announcing May 2023, not a specific date, but then later they announced the date of May 23rd anyway, so they made it needlessly confusing for people. But either way, it will be arriving on May the 23rd, 2023, and it's being developed by Dramatic Labs. Dramatic Labs was founded by former members of Telltale Games, and this will be the first game that's been released by this studio. As for our final story, the UK's Competition and Markets Authority have reached their final decision on the Microsoft Activision Blizzard acquisition, and they chose to block it. This was accompanied by a 418-page final report that elaborates on how the authority reached their decision. The report outlines several reasons for the block, including how it would directly impact the fast-growing cloud gaming market, although another reason is directly related to the Nintendo Switch, as one proposal that came about as part of the acquisition was Microsoft's 10-year commitment to bring Call of Duty games to the Switch, which the CMA believes is not technically capable of running the game in a manner resembling the experience of more powerful platforms. As they stated, Nintendo does not currently offer Call of Duty. We have seen no evidence to suggest that its consoles would be technically capable of running a version of Call of Duty that is similar to those in Xbox and PlayStation, in terms of quality of gameplay and content. This comment in the CMA's report comes despite Microsoft's previously shown confidence in the viability of a port back in February. Microsoft's president Brad Smith stated that the series would run as you'd expect on the Switch, and this was later emphasized by Microsoft's gaming CEO and Xbox boss Phil Spencer, who stated that the company was aiming to bring the best version of Call of Duty to all platforms, Switch included. But in response to this decision, Brad Smith had this to say: "We are of course very disappointed about the CMA's decision, but more than that, unfortunately I think this is bad for Britain. The strong message the CMA has sent is not just to surprise everyone who fully expected this acquisition to be approved, but to send a message that I think will discourage innovation and investment in the United Kingdom. And I think in a sense the impact of this decision is far broader than on Microsoft or on this acquisition alone. Microsoft has been in the United Kingdom for 40 years, and we play a vital role, not just supporting businesses and non-profits, but even defending the nation from cybersecurity threats. But this decision, I have to say, is probably the darkest day in our 4 decades in Britain. It does more to shake our confidence in the future of the opportunity to grow a technology business in Britain than we've ever confronted before. People are shocked, people are disappointed, and people's confidence in technology in the UK has been severely shaken. There's a clear message here. The European Union is a more attractive place to start a business than the United Kingdom." Brad Smith also added that if the UK wants to bring in investment, it needs to look harder at the role that the CMA plays and the whole regulatory structure. The CMA in response said through a spokesperson that its job is to do what's best for the people of the UK, not merging firms with commercial interests. Activision is intertwined through different markets. It can't be separated for the UK, so this decision blocks the deal from happening globally. The CMA's chief executive, Sarah Cardell, also added into the conversation by saying, "I think this decision shows actually how important it is to support competition in the UK, and that the UK is absolutely open for business. We want to create an environment where a whole host of different companies can compete effectively, can grow and innovate." Both Microsoft and Activision have said that they will appeal against the CMA's decision. Regulators in the US and the EU have yet to make their decision, although the US's Federal Trade Commission has begun a legal challenge to the takeover for the deal to go through. It will have to win regulatory approval in all 3 regions. If the deal fails, Microsoft will then be on the hook for a $3 billion breakup fee to Activision Blizzard. But that's not even where the story ends, as the cloud gaming platform Boosteroid also weighed in on the situation with a statement that reads, "Boosteroid team and our users disagree with the CMA's decision against Microsoft's purchase of Activision Blizzard. Our position on this issue is in line with that of Microsoft's president Brad Smith. We hope for a quick resolution to this question." And of course, Boosteroid is the same company that recently signed a 10-year agreement with Microsoft where they promised to bring Xbox PC games to Boosteroid members, including Activision Blizzard games if the deal closed. So naturally they would stand on Microsoft's side during this situation. But that's all we have time for this week. If you have any thoughts on anything discussed this week, please leave it in the comment section below as always, and I will see you next week. Goodbye.